How do you survive and get over the 1 year itch? So you made the decision to move abroad. You left your old life behind. You don't even have a storage unit back in the US or your former country. And now you're starting to feel this 12-month deadline approach, and maybe your lease is up and you are questioning if you made the right decision, if there is another country you should try out, and yeah, whether or not to stay and push through this discomfort. I am going to do my best to explain to you what you're actually going through. And then I'm going to give you three questions that you can ask yourself to really figure out if the current city that, or let's say your next city, is the right one, or if you should try somewhere else out. First, I want to affirm that it is hard to ever really know beforehand that anything will work out 100% the way you want. I have stopped approaching my life that way, and it's just so much more liberating and empowering. If you always approach decisions with, I need 100% certainty in order to take the next step, you will never actually take the steps necessary. And it will almost feel you'll be living life with so much more rigidity. There needs to be flow and freedom in how you make decisions and how you also surrender to the fact that you can't actually control as much as you think. Okay. So, something that happens around the 10-month mark is the adrenaline fades. And maybe this is even at the 6 month or 3 month mark for you, but the adrenaline subsides and you realize all the things that you have actually been running from have caught up. And in that stillness, you become a little restless because you're like, wait, I'm supposed to always feel excitement. I'm supposed to always feel like everything is perfect and amazing, but I'm no longer stimulated by the city, by my environment, all types of things. The first question to ask is my dissatisfaction internal or external? Because if you moved to Portugal, but your trauma moved with you, that's internal work. And no environment is going to heal you if you are always trying to run from yourself. There is a quote, very cliche, but everywhere you go, there you are. And I love it because it's so true. You can only run from yourself for so long. And eventually, the people and the habits and even some of the vices that you picked up will no longer satisfy that itch or they will leave you. And then you are forced to sit with yourself and figure out, am I ready to face myself? Or can I stretch out this marathon of a run further? And sometimes what I also think about is if you feel like the city is limiting your growth, then yes, it's time to move. This was the US for me. I moved to what I thought was one of the biggest cities for growth, entrepreneurship, business, networking, conferences. And indeed, there were a lot of those events there. But the reality was, those events weren't for me. The people there weren't for me. I was trying to fit in. I was trying to fit into spaces that I never belonged in. And so I was always confronted with the fact that like I don't belong here. I'm different. And it's not that I'm better, it's just I don't belong in this lane and I'm trying to force myself to fit in it. And for many of you who are pioneers, creating your own blueprints for what success looks like for you, you're probably the first in your family and friend group to make your own decisions and not let society tell you what is right or what happiness looks like. And so it's very confronting when you don't have people around you that can also mirror back your potential. You are often the mirror to other people to step up, to level up, to try something different. Because many people say they've done something for 20 years and they call it a 20-year career when in fact they did the same thing for 1 year 20 times. That is very different. So, in this 1 year confusion and 1 year itch, where you're trying to figure out if you should move back home, you should try another country, or if you should stick it out, you really want to think about, is this an internal or external problem? Am I unsatisfied with the lack of growth and the lack of internal work? Meaning I haven't really sat with myself and figured out what I am still healing from? Or is this external? You're not able to find community. You're not excited by the environment. You don't feel creative anymore. You have tapped out all types of resources and you just feel like you have maybe checked the city off. I totally understand that. And I also want you to remember that some cities might also be transition cities. There was a city in the US that I lived in for 5 years, and I feel like I knew no one there when I moved there. I told no one that I lived there as well. So it was very much my place to hide and heal. That was when I did the deepest level of therapy. That's when I secretly, not secretly, but I convinced my family of seven to do family therapy because Nigerian trauma, like there's a lot we have to unpack, and I successfully got us to do that and unpack some stuff from over decades plus. And I think, you know, I did as much as I needed to do, and I outgrew my environment. And I talked about it in another video where if you are already living on the parameter of the dimensions of the pace that you're in, you are literally circling the parameter. There's nowhere else for you to go. So you have to leave that box. So that might be your journey. Okay, the second question you want to ask yourself when you start to feel that 1 year itch is, does my future self live here? If you don't see yourself continuing to grow, thrive, evolve, and expand your work, your community, your ambitions, your creative expressions, your pursuits, if you don't see that existing here, then yeah, I would say it's time to explore other options. When I am like riding through Bangkok in the back of a motorbike, when I'm attending events, when I'm at church, when I'm just doing everyday things, I absolutely see this version of myself not only loving, continuing to love Bangkok, but continuing to grow in the city. I see so much opportunity here. I am so excited here. I feel like I've, I don't know, I've reached another creative capacity for my own potential that I have never experienced before. I'm on day 107, 107 days in a row of making long form YouTube videos every single day, every single day. I don't know who this is. I'm like, I'm shook. I'm still in it. So I don't think I've been able to process the fact that I've been doing this for this long. But I'm like, who am I? Who is this version that's just going this hard? And the reality is, it's not work when you're loving it. And I think your environment, it does so much for your own sense of internal safety. And some of you are trying to be creative in a place that's killing you. It's killing your soul. It's killing your heart. It's killing your creativity. There is no version of you that's going to be creative in a place that isn't meant to expand you. So, yes, consider that. And the third question you want to ask yourself is this an ending or is this a transition? Because endings can feel like like it's a clean slate. It's like a new beginning. You almost don't even need closure. You have felt the closure for yourself. Transitions can feel a little bit like a stretch. And one is more, I think one invites grief, the other invites discipline. A transition will tell you that, okay, it's time to stretch your capacity and it's time to do something different. An ending is almost like, dang, am I making the right decision? Is this going to make sense? Or, yeah, is it time to shut the door? So you just want to think about which one you are leaning more towards because there's no bad or wrong answer. And ultimately, you can only make that decision for you. Let's say, for example, you are at a job, like you worked a corporate career, and maybe you've been there for 10 plus years. You've got great stock options, great benefits, great pension plan, and yeah, everything's going great. You're relatively happy, but most of all, you're relatively secure. And I think security is how most people live and rule their lives. Nothing wrong with that. I've never known security. So I think my opposite trauma is the fact that because I wasn't born into security. I never knew security. It's not familiar for me to chase it or pursue it or even need it. I know that I can thrive in chaos. And so that allows me to be in different and unfamiliar environments where I can adapt. Because I'm like, oh, nothing is stable. Everything is always changing. Everything moves. Everything evolves. So I might as well get with it. That's my way of existing in the world. So you can't, and I say you, a boss in corporate, cannot put a carrot of security over my head because that is not enticing to me. Am I free? Am I having fun? Is there room to grow? Do I love who I'm becoming in this environment, or is this environment slowly killing me? That's what you can ask yourself about the city that you're choosing. And more than anything, I want you to know that the fact that you are out here, the fact that you are planning to be out here doing something different, living in a new country. I commend the person that tries and fails, goes back home, versus the one that dreams about it for years and never actually gets on the flight. So there is no losing respect for me. There is no disappointing of yourself. It really, I mean, it's a path that only you can take and make for yourself. So just continue exploring the questions, getting curious about your options, and recognizing that there is no way to lose when you are the one choosing your future. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. If you are new and if you don't know, my name is Glow and I make videos every single, say it with me, day. It's a pleasure, honor, and joy to have you here. I love to hear from you in the community. So please continue dropping in the comments where you're feeling. If this resonated with you, let me know where you're at, where you might be feeling the 1 year itch. If you are maybe in a country where you felt the 10-year itch, let me know as well. And you want to join my workshop, if you are currently in the US and you are trying to get out and explore your options, I help you with the first 3 steps. We've got a new class coming in a couple days, so you don't want to miss out. And here is yesterday's video, one of my favorites, top 10 hilarious culture shock moments. All right, I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.